Welcome back to Pokey's Mechanical. Now today I'm going to show you how to replace the upper control arm ball joints on this 2005 Ford Territory. Now obviously you got it up in the air already, and we'll get the wheels off first. All right, up here is your upper control arm, and what we want to do first is take this bolt off. It's an 18mm nut, so we're taking the nut off, not the bolt. Just like voila. And this should rightfully come out with a little bit of persuasion. Get the old knockrometer. And while we're at it, we might chuck some light in here so you guys can see stuff. Push this button, there we go. And tap, tap, tap.
That's giving it bad strobe effect.
Can you see it?
Yeah, you can see it pretty clearly.
All right, we won't do the light. So maybe with a bit of a jiggle.
Jiggle, jiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Bolt out, and you should be able to hit it out like that. Boom.
That came out easier than the other side.
Okay, yeah, just as a pre-warning, they don't always come out that easy. Sometimes they need a little more persuasion. Now, look at the ball joint here. We shouldn't be able to do that. That's a bit sloppy.
And also the rubbers are all torn. There is a little trick you can do. If you have this tight, you can actually pry this apart here, just with a little cold chisel. Just gently tap it in there and just make it a little bit wider here, and then that'll come out easy.
Open her up. All right, coming over now to our box of tricks.
Right, so this is actually a good little kit from Super Cheap Auto. This is a Tool Pro kit for doing ball joints. Relatively cheap. We have got other advanced stuff, but we thought we'd film with this because this is something you can just go and buy yourself. And the parts we'll need is small and medium rings that are from the center of that, and that piece there, and that piece there. The rest of it gets left alone. That's all we need. Oh. Need
and chuck it on the ground on your way through.
And need a impact.
And chuck that. Gee, you've been handling toast. You got the butterfingers. Look at him on his knees. All right, what configuration do we require to get this ball joint out?
We require. So the theory is the ball joint's just press fitted into the top of the arm. We're going to use the socket to sit on the top, and that's going to push the ball joint down. But we're not actually using the threaded part of this to push the ball joint down. It's actually going to squeeze it down into this tube there like that. So what we have is impact socket, impact gun on the bottom of the G-clamp. You can just use a breaker bar or a ratchet. Send it. So that just pushed that ball joint straight down into this cup. Well,
that was way more than intended. And that's required. You drop your socket on the ground.
Yep.
That's part of the process.
So there's our ball joint there.
Now you may ask, what are you doing here with the memory tape in the hole? I'm just smoothing her out, giving her a bit of a clean, so we've got a clear shot when the new one goes in. If you have bits of, you know, what do you call that stuff? Swarf, dirt, dust, corrosion, it's going to give you a real hard time trying to get your new ball joint back in. So we'll give that a quick clean up, make it nice and smooth, and she'll go in fine. Now what?
We're going to push a ball joint in, Sol. That's what we're here to do.
Okay.
Grab the G-clamp, buddy.
Get that G-banger happening.
Actually, grab this out of this. Let's get Corey involved here. Cheers, buddy. Right, tools that we need is this piece here. That goes onto that bit there. Actually, it goes onto that bit there that way. That ring, you have to work it on over to the rubber. Make sure you don't catch the rubber in there and pinch it on this edge, otherwise it'll tear. And then we can put those together, and that goes up in here. And then we've got this little cup that basically is your provision at the top to wind it into.
I'll hold this steady. You give us some.
Oh, I'll give it some, all right.
So before you give this too many bickies, you really want to make sure that's square going in.
You got to watch the top of the G-clamp to make sure that looks like it's going to be pushing it in square too. Once you've got it started, you'll probably have to use a long bar like this one.
That's a nice long
Thank
bar.
you, Gear Wrench. I'm very open to sponsorship anytime you like. Oh, that's tight. Look how close that is now. Get right in close there. But just gonna close that gap. That's what we're doing. Once it's there, you'll feel it get really tight on this, but you want to make sure it's all the way, so you squash it that bit extra.
There was once a tale of a man who busted his fufu valve putting a control arm bushing ball joint in. I think his name was Pokey, and it'll happen now.
The hard part's done.
Hey, 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 and it goes in, yeah.
If you look through the hole, through there, can you see where it's going to line up? Are we too high or too low? Oh, I've gone too deep.
Oh dear.
It's too deep. Pull out. It's too deep. So when you're too deep, you just tap it a few times and it's fine. Ball joint's done. Ball joint's done.
The done is the ball joint.
Put your wheel on and stuff and lower it down and drive home.
Go home.
Cool.
Now, after you've done serious suspension work like this, it's worth going and getting a wheel alignment and make sure your wheels are running true and where they should be, and you're not ploughing through the streets like a snowplow.
Yeah, and it's also going to save tyre wear if you get your alignment set up correctly.
And fuel.
And fuel. Especially in this day and age.
See.
Oh. Yeah. All right, that's how you change a ball joint. Forward territory, top ball joint, done.
Cheers.
Bye.